right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. This is DFS Army's pre-lock show where we are here to answer your questions, but we're also going to go game by game, talk through our plan on the slate, guys we like, guys we might not like as much. But first and foremost, Cujo, you were here early. Good to see you, man. Rodney, fam, good to see you. Andrew, yeah, we're going to turn up when we win. Right now, we got to stay focused, so got to stay calm. Theo, you're right. Let's roll. Let's make it happen. William, good to see you. Who's the bad chalk? We'll get there. Harlock said Levert was so bad last night. They traded his sorry ass. Not wrong. He's been that guy for so long, though. Like he's always that guy, hard to trust. Thomas said, what's up? Good to see you, man. Let's get to it. First game on the slate, we have the Dallas Mavericks going up against the Celtics. Mavericks have had a lot of moves. You know, Luka's not here anymore. AD's not playing the night. He's doubtful, but he's not playing tonight. PJ Washington's out. Dwight Powell's out. Derek Lively's out. Tough matchup, too, against the Celtics. Who stood out for you, if anybody?
Not too many people here. Like you said, it's a tough matchup, but I still wanted to take a shot here on Kyrie. Last game, he kind of reminded everybody that he still has 50 to 60 point upside. So we also say all the time that Boston plays down quite a bit, and they could very well do the same here. So although the spread might look very concerning when it comes to Boston, I don't let that dictate certain plays. So definitely want to take a shot out on Kyrie at 8,700 and less than 10% ownership. And then Gafford, I wish he was a bit lower owned, so I didn't force him in, but he is showing up just a bit around he's been floating in between 5 to 10%. So I'm okay with that as long as I have some exposure to him. But this will definitely be a harder spot for him dealing with Porzingis down low. So not really going to make him a priority. And then not really getting anywhere else here.
Yeah, this matchup's brutal against the Celtics, but you're not wrong. They do play down to their opponent. And I like the Kyrie call. I want to take shots on him. I wasn't thinking about him here, but you're right. A bit of a revenge narrative here. You know, Kyrie likes being in Boston, even though he has struggled every now and again. But I like the 10% min. It's safe. We know he has upside. No more Luka. I'm expecting more of these Dallas players to become more DFS viable with Luka gone, just because they historically have played at a faster pace when Luka is not playing. So I like the shot. So I'm going to put a 10% min on him. Gafford is a sim model play for me. Sim model liked him. Again, I don't love the matchup, but I put a like on him in the domination station, and that made him show up in about 25% of my lines. So I'm over the field there too. So I'm with you. We're not going crazy here, but I like taking a couple of shots on this matchup. Next up, we have the Celtics going up against the Mavs. The Celtics are pretty healthy. The biggest thing here is Drew Holiday being out, which makes guys like Derek White and Peyton Pritchard more DFS viable. But again, still matchup isn't that sexy on paper. Are you looking at any of the Celtics? Looks like you're pretty excited about these guys.
Yep, I'm pretty much playing all the starters plus Pritchard. I like this side of the ball a lot more, as you can see. Dallas just isn't really someone I worry about defensively, and I think everyone is fairly priced. I do wish Tatum was a bit lower, but as far as everyone else, I do like their price, especially with Drew Holiday out now too. So just wanted some exposure to a little bit of everyone on this side of the ball.
Yeah, I was looking at Tatum and Brown. I don't not like them on this slate. They just didn't stand out for me. So I just trusted the DS to do its thing. They're showing up a little bit, but I'm going to be under the field there. Porzingis, though, is someone that I do want to force exposure to. The Mavs have been bad against bigs for a while. That's not something that they fix with the trade deadline. And so I'm looking at forcing exposure to him here. Bit of a narrative here as well, even though it's been a little bit. So 13% min on him is what I did just to kind of make sure he's at least showing up on my lines or in my lines. And then Derek White, I have a 4% min on just because he sees a bit of a boost. I just want to make sure he was showing up a bit for me. And then Peyton Pritchard, I have an 8% min on, so close to you, Brandon, on that 10. I think 10's solid, but there's a lot of really good guard plays. So I was really particular with my men's on this slate. Let's see. Did anyone say anything interesting about this? Nope. Yep. Appreciate you, Mama Doro. Efrain said, let's do this. Thank you for your information. Thank you all for being here. And if you're not a DFS Army member, click the link in the description. Feel free to use promo code, I can't talk today, BDUB, and you'll have a 10% discount on your DFS Army membership. So do that if you're not a member. Then you can follow along with Brandon and I in what we're doing in the Domination Station. Jose, what's up? He said, who are the point guard priorities on DraftKings? We'll get there towards the end of the slate. Appreciate the question. Dixon said, Josiah, what did I tell you? Even Bron got tired of AD's bum ass. You're not wrong. LeBron's saying he knew nothing about it, but I don't believe that. Randy said, why don't y'all do a video every day? I have a job. Unfortunately, fortunate.
Life happens sometimes.
Said, yeah, it happens, but I'm making some changes in the next few weeks. So post Super Bowl, we'll be a little bit more consistent, at least 3 shows a week instead of the 1 or 2. Rodney said Kyrie had his problems with Marcus Smart and Holiday. Kyrie just has problems, Rodney. The sooner we realize that, the better. Renaud said, LOL, fresh off the Geek stream. He's a funny dude. Yeah, Kevin's fucking hilarious. Thoughts on Hunter to the Cavs?
Beautiful move.
Yeah, it makes sense for him. A lot of really good trades. So fun. We could have a whole nother show talking about that.
Yep.
But let's move on. We have the Rockets going up against the Timberwolves. The Rockets. Not a team that I love to see on a slate, especially when Fred VanVleet is out, because he's the reason I like to play guards against Houston. But he's out, and so that's why you're seeing guys like Thompson, and Thompson see a bit of a boost. Steven Adams is doubtful. Jabari Smith is out, but that's not new. Who are you looking at here, Brandon?
Before I dive into the Rockets, I did want to mention with the Celtics, I'll be keeping an eye on the starting line. I think it should be either Horford or Hauser who slides into the starting line. So I'm willing to play either one of those guys as well. I'm just waiting on that news.
Yep. Another spot too. Tough matchup for the Rockets here going up against the Timberwolves. You like Thompson here?
Yep. So I'm in. Not the biggest fan of this matchup, but with VanVleet out, he'll continue to start and kind of take over more of the playmaking role. And this dude's upside is just way too good not to have exposure to him. And then I forced in Schengen too. Not the best spot for him really either, but he's actually smashed the last 2 times they played this team. I think both previous games he's put up like over 50 DraftKings points, and they're kind of hurting with center help. So I think he sees close to 40 minutes again. So with his potential upside, he's just somebody I wanted to take a GPP shot on. And Eason, of course, didn't really have to do anything with him. With the guys that they're missing, he should benefit quite a bit. I like his price. He's showing up naturally around Phil Wade for me.
Yeah, I like the Şengün call. I mean, the Timberwolves are on the back end of a back-to-back. I'm more comfortable attacking them in situations like that. This is a low total game, so we're not trying to get too cute here. But with Fred VanVleet out, you do need a little bit of Amen Thompson exposure. So I'm right there with you. 10% men there, and then 5% men on Şengün with a bit of a softer matchup with the Timberwolves on the back end of a back-to-back, and we know how great he can be. I have a like on Terry Eason, still trying to get him to show up a bit more, bit of a sim model play as well, and he's showing up in about 36% of my lines, and that's it for the Rockets. I'm not really trying to force in too many more players. Cam Whitmore is fine. I do think we have better value than him on the slate. Next up for the Timberwolves, again, a team without not like too many exciting pieces of news that makes guys more viable besides Julius Randle. That's big, making Naz Reid show up in pretty much all of our lines, and he's been fantastic recently too, so you feel pretty good about it. And then DiVincenzo, he's the one who's been out for a while. Anyone really standing out for you here?
Yeah, Naz Reid's kind of the obvious play here. Don't really have to do too much with him since he's been starting. He's just been in really good form. And Anthony Edwards. I do worry a little bit because I think Amin will be on him defensively. So not a good situation for him, but Anthony's usage is just super high and he'll still get his shots up. So he's just another GPP play I wanted to throw in the mix at this low ownership.
Mhm.
And then Gobert as well. He's somebody I usually don't force him, but it's kind of hard to ignore the way he's been playing lately. Pretty sure he has like 3 or 4 games in a row with double-doubles. So wanted to throw him in the mix as well. And rest of the team, not really excited about.
Yeah, I get it. Fred VanVleet isn't playing, and so he's not on the other side. I'm not playing guards against them. Anthony Edwards, I really liked his ownership, so I see you. I get it, but I can't do it here. So I do have a like and a 5% min on Rudy Gobert, and he's showing up in 5% of my lines. Again, it's more of a sim model play for me, and if you're wondering what the sim model is, it's a tool we have here at DFS Army. Again, link in the description, but that's really the only reason I'm looking at him. He's still cheap, 6,800, but I'm not overly excited about the play. Naz Reid is the guy I'm looking at here. I have a like on him, and he's showing up in 87% of my lines, and I'm okay with that. It's risky, but it is what it is. Dixon said, "Why has Jalen Green been such a bum?" I mean, Jalen Green's like a lot of NBA players. You play him in soft matchups. You don't play him in tough matchups. It's that simple. Hauser is 3.2K and a nice value if he starts. Yeah, you're not wrong, man. Not wrong at all. I think, Brandon, you mentioned that too. Like, that's why you're really keeping an eye on the starting lineup. Appreciate you, William. Hit the like button. We need to make sure we show up so people keep letting us do this show. So appreciate that support. Matt said, no, appreciate. Yeah, I see y'all talking in the chat. All right. Next up, we have the Magic going up against the Nuggets. This is a game I wish I liked more. I'm forcing a little bit of exposure here, but not a situation I love too much. This is still a pretty low total game. So for the Magic, they have Jalen Suggs listed as doubtful. So that keeps things a little bit more interesting because he is a pretty high usage player and does a lot for this team. And then KCP is questionable, which could make things a little bit more interesting with a guy like Tristan starting, probably if he gets ruled out. And then Gary Harris is questionable as well. I don't think we got any updates on that news. Is that still right?
Yeah, I don't think we have.
Okay, cool.
Nope.
Looks like you like both Franz and Paolo today. What's your thought process here?
Yep. So we've seen time after time how Denver has a really soft defense. Like, you can put up points against his defense. And I went through 2 guys who have the highest upside on this team, and that's Franz and Paolo, of course. Love their ownership here, and they're more sneaky GPP plays that I think can win you a tourney tonight. So definitely one of my shares of both of those guys.
Yeah. I love the low ownership on them. I just couldn't find another reason to play them. I know the matchup's pretty soft against Denver. It's a pretty neutral spot for them. I've just been struggling to see their upside here recently. Even in soft matchups, they've been struggling. I think that's the right call, though. That's why it's a GPP play if you're taking your shot on them, because they have been struggling. So I think that makes sense. I'm taking a shot on Cole Anthony. He's 1%. He's had 40-point upside at 6K. I'm okay having a little bit of exposure. I have like a 2-3% min on him, so it's nothing crazy. I just want to have a little bit of exposure to him with Suggs probably not playing tonight. And then that's really it for me. I'm not trying to pick on this game too much because it's just my least favorite on the slate. For the Nuggets, we have injury news, of course, that we're still waiting on. Jamal Murray's questionable. Aaron Gordon's questionable. Russell Westbrook's out, so at least we have that. That, knowing Westbrook's gone, is what should keep Brown in the starting lineup and what kind of keeps him pretty viable from a DFS standpoint, too, for me. I wanted to make sure he showed up in my lines. But what about for you, Brandon? Who are you looking at from this team?
For now, it's mainly just 2 people for me. Jokic, of course, the obvious. I don't think he will be needed tonight. I mean, he's almost 13K, and one of the lower game totals on the slate. Should be a pretty slow-paced game, but he's just somebody, no matter the game environment, I got to have some with his upside. And then Michael Porter Jr. He's just in really good form. He's been core for me the last couple of nights. He won't be core tonight, of course, for the reasons I
Obvious
just said.
reasons. Yeah.
Slower paced game, very low game total, but
Mhm.
he's just been looking really good, and I like his ownership. So, and the price is still good for him. So, wanted to make sure I had some of him. If Murray or Gordon gets rolled out, then I'd be a little more willing to have Brown. I just don't like this spot, so not going too crazy here.
I get it. Yeah, this is a tough matchup. Let's highlight that. Magic, they're a good defense still. They play at a slow pace, probably even more important than their defensive ability. Uh, Jokic, I have a 5% min on as well. You have to. We know what he can do. Like you said, Brandon, he's probably not going to be needed on this slate, but just in case, and especially if a guy like Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray gets ruled out, it makes Jokic a little bit more interesting. So I just like having some exposure. Michael Porter's the best play for this team, so I have an 11% min on him. Not to just like one up you a little bit, but for me, when I refresh the DS, it says 11% ownership, so that's why I put 11. And then 10% min for me on Brown, just because he wasn't showing up, and I do like him more in spots like this when Westbrook's not playing, and I'll like him even more if guys like Murray miss this game. So yeah, for me, it's Brown, Porter Jr., and Jokic, and we'll see what the Q tags do if we have to force a bit more exposure to these guys. This is when things get interesting. The next 3 games on the slate are my favorite 3. First, we have the Kings going up against Portland. This is the highest game total on the slate, and it has the closest spread. The Kings, of course, have had trade news. They lost Fox. They brought in Levine. They're going up against Portland tonight. Let's see. Is anyone else missing for these guys? Sacramento. I'm not. There's no injury news here. Is there, Brandon, or am I missing something?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, sweet. So for you take a shot probably on Sabonis, right? That's usually
Yep. Really, it's just a bonus for me. He still has the highest upside on his team. I think he'll. I mean, he's normally a good playmaker, but without Fox now, I think he'll kind of have to step up even more. So he's just the one guy I wanted to focus on. I mean, I'm fine if some of these other guys show up, like Monk or Keegan, but I didn't force any of these other guys in. It's just kind of hard to predict which one of these guys will kind of pop off. But I'm definitely not against playing any of these guys.
Brandon, all of them. You can play them all. Here's the thing. So everyone's kind of freaking out. Kings suck because they sucked against Orlando. Orlando's a good defense. They play at a slow pace. These guys were going to struggle against Orlando. This is where they look good. This is where people are like, oh, maybe the Kings, Levine is heat. This is where you look at those guys. So Levine is someone I love on this slate. Love his low ownership. Love the matchup. Portland, they're giving up a shit ton of points to scoring wings like Levine and like DeMar DeRozan, even Keegan Murray, but I'm not getting too cute there. But they're giving up the 5th most fantasy points to scoring wings like that. And so just the matchup is a spot I love. Very over the field on Zach LaVine, matching the field on a guy like Malik Monk, very over the field on a guy like DeMar DeRozan, and then matching the field on Sabonis. And Murray's not showing up for me outside of like one line. So I'm not going to force him in, but I don't think he's a bad play either. So yeah, really like the Kings tonight. Next up, we have the Portland Trailblazer side of things. A team I thought I was going to like a bit more, but ultimately didn't get there too much. But from an injury news standpoint, Terrence Mann is out, Highland's out, nothing that really moves the needle at all for us from a DFS perspective. Who are you taking shots on here?
Yeah, I took a few shots actually on this side of the ball. Most of these guys were kind of popping on the sim model too. So pretty much the main guys here, Avdia, Simons, and Ayton are the main 3 I wanted to focus on. Grant, I don't think will be needed, but he's just another low on GPP play. I just like this game overall, and I think this is a spot where he can have one of his ceiling games. So focusing on those 4 guys here.
Yeah, I don't like this side of the ball as much. Denny Avdia, he was showing up for me in the sim model. I played him. That's just kind of what I do. I put a 20% min on him and a like. But outside of that, the Kings have been a decent defense so far this season. Not a spot I really want to pick on too much, but this is the highest total game on the slate. So I don't think it's wrong to take shots here with guys that we know can be explosive, like you did, Brandon, with Simons and Ayton and Grant. But Avdia is really the only guy I took a shot on here. Let me see if anyone else shows up in my lines. Doesn't look like it. So moving on, we have the Golden State Warriors against the Lakers. Warriors, it feels like they forced moves, but, they had to do something. They had Moses Moody listed as questionable. Santos is listed as questionable. Nothing that really changes things too much. We're not going to see Jimmy tonight, but who are you looking at today, Brandon?
Yeah, so the obvious is Podzimski and Hild. They both should start again with the moves this team just made, and they're super cheap. So not really overthinking those two spots. Looney was popping quite a bit. I did lower him a couple points, as you can see. He was kind of showing as a core play, but I think this is a chalk spot on this team that I'm going to be under on, especially with Trace being available and Draymond. Looney can still pop off, but not just don't have a really good feeling about it. They've been starting post too, which I know Looney's still been doing damage off the bench, but this was one spot I just wanted to take a stand on.
Yeah.
And then Curry, definitely don't mind at this price. And I've always loved attacking guards against the Lakers. Think this is a good spot for him as well. And then not really getting anywhere else here. Never mind. No, I'm not.
Did you let Jimmy move? Were you a Jimmy fan?
Nah, I think this is one team that kind of took a L with the trade deadline. So I'll be curious to see how he does here, but I don't think he moved the needle too much here.
Yeah, I mean, I never really liked seeing Golden State on a slate, so it really just made it even worse. Because if anything, they just improve defensively. They don't become like a more fun DFS slate. So that's the only way I think about things.
Yep.
I like the 20% min, though, on Curry. Like you said, we like picking on the Lakers. I like that play. This is a good spot. And then Podzimski, Hield, like you said, not trying to get cute here. They're both in pretty much all of my lines besides one or two. And then Kevin Looney, I didn't do anything to him in the DS, and he's showing up for me in about 21% of my lines. So I'm slightly under the field naturally alongside you, Brandon. And then Curry showing up right around 20%. And then Quentin Post, I was fine with taking some shots on him. Sim Model had some interest. He's been seeing some decent minutes. So he's only showing up in about 7% of my lines, even with the like, though. So he's not showing up too much for me. Do you have any thoughts on Post?
Yeah, he's somebody I'm fine with. I'm not gonna like boost him to get more or X him out. He's a decent price. He's had some solid back-to-back games. So I'm okay with him. No really strong feelings or opinions on him.
Yeah. Dixon, I hear you on Paolo. It's getting tough out there. But when it gets tough, that's when they surprise you. MPJ went off. Is he still hot tonight? I like him today. Kaboom Wagwan, man. It has been a while. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. Miss my dogs. Hope all is well. Yeah, we're good, man. We're good. Thanks for checking back in. It's been a bit. We're going to be more consistent moving forward, so it's going to be good to see you. Thomas said no love for Brown. I like him. Ellis, not as much. Simons popping a lot in the DS. Was Simons popping for you, Brandon? Is that what got you on
him? He wasn't, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't a sim model, so I wanted to make sure I got some of them. He might have been on FanDuel. I don't know if that looks different over there.
All right, so for the Lakers, we have the one and only Mr. DFS himself, Dorian Finney-Smith, over here now. They lost AD, makes guys like Hayes worth talking about at least. What are you doing with the Lakers tonight?
So LeBron and Rui, of course, you shouldn't really have to do too much with them. They should be showing naturally. They're probably my two favorite plays on this side of the ball. I want to like Reeves too, but he's just a little too pricey for me tonight. So not really getting there. Getting a little bit of DFS, but I'm not a huge fan of him. I did throw a like on Vanderbilt though, and he's one of my favorite value plays on the slate. Um, I'm hoping this is the game where he finally sees 20 minutes or even slightly over 20 minutes. I know he's being talked about as being one of the important pieces in their rotation as far as being one of their top defensive pieces. So hopefully they continue to ramp him up, and he's almost min price with all the guys they just lost. Really banking on him to kind of be sneaky here. So love Vanderbilt quite a bit tonight, and I'll be way over the field on him.
I can't believe Bronny's in the DS. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
But no, you're right. Like, this is Vanderbilt's moment. This is his moment. We've been waiting for it. He's won us some money but this is no AD. Come on, Vanderbilt. I'm with you. He's my favorite value play on the slate too. I have a 25% min on him, just trying to force him in because I like him. And then LeBron, I have a 40% min on. I had to put him in just because I have other players who I forced exposure to that made him fall a good bit. And then lastly, I have a 25% min on Rui for the same thing. They show up naturally in the DS, but because of some of the other changes I made, they both fell. And I like this game a lot, so I forced exposure there. Anyone else you want to touch on here?
That's it for me.
Did you think about Hayes at all? I don't know.
No. Can't do Hayes. He's actually hadn't been too bad, but I can't go there tonight.
Yeah, I can't either. But another guy where I was just like, come on, man. You got to do something here. Last game on the slate, we have the Pacers going up against the Clippers. For the Indiana Pacers, from an injury news standpoint, we have Wiseman out, Isaiah Jackson out. Nothing that really matters here too much. It was really hard for me to find a reason to play these guys, but it looks like you're taking some shots. Okay. What's your thought process here?
Yeah, again, probably not needed, but again, I always like to look for those low-owned GPP plays with decent upside. We all know what Siakam can do. And Halliburton, he's like one of the most frustrating players to play. Like he literally put up 0 points last game, which is just mind-boggling. So
24 minutes.
Hoping he's feeling a little more aggressive on the offensive side of the ball. So, and then hopefully it's not a blowout either. So, feel like everybody's going to kind of just not even thinking about him after last game. So, hoping for a stud after the kind of performance tonight. So, again, probably not needed, but y'all know me. I like taking risks. So.
Yeah. The thing with Halliburton, he's a player you can actually get mad at. You can't get mad at a guy like Jalen Green for not showing up in a tough matchup, but you can get mad at Tyrese Halliburton for going off against the Heat and going off against matchups. He should suck it. It's so frustrating. Yep. But I can't do it. I can't do it. I hate the Pacers so much. I think you're right. This is a nice high total game, though, and it makes sense to take a shot here. I just can't stand all of these guys. And the only guy who's in a really, really soft matchup is Mathurin, who I also can't stand to play when it comes to DFS. So I'm pretending like this team doesn't exist tonight, and hopefully they don't ruin my night. Is all I can do here. I do like the Clippers a lot, though, on this slate. So they are seeing all of the ownership, so it's not a sneaky play by any means. But for the Clippers tonight, are any of these guys standing out for you? There's no real injury news to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't have to do too much here. Powell and Zubac were showing up quite a bit for me. I like them quite a bit. I did put them in on Harden and Kawhi. Kawhi does concern me a little bit just because we still haven't seen his minutes go up like Lou said it would. But against this matchup in 6,800, just another shot I'm willing to take. And then Chris Dunn behind Vanderbilt is probably my next favorite sneaky value play. We just seen the Clippers trade away Bones, Man, and Kevin Porter, so that pretty much opens up like the backup guards minutes all to Chris Dunn pretty much. So willing to take a shot on him at this price and ownership. I have a 10% man on him, but with that projection increase, I'm actually getting like around 20%. So he's somebody I want to have leverage on over the field.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of these calls. For me, like you said, Zubac was an obvious play for me. He's showing up in about 68% of my lines. I'm very over the field on him. I like him a lot. And the reasoning is this is the second highest total game on the slate. It's basically it's the third, but it's a high total game. It's one that I want to force exposure to. And yeah, that's pretty much it. James Harden, I have a like on. I have 35% exposure to him. So again, significantly over the field there. One of my favorite studs on the slate is Harden. And so that's one of those reasons. It's hilarious. The Kawhi Leonard situation, how he's now seeing less minutes ever since he was going to start to see more. I played him that first night and it worked out. I haven't taken a shot on him since. I'm not really feeling it here in this spot either, but I understand the play. Derrick Jones was standing out. Derrick Jones Jr. was standing out for me a little bit in the sim model. And so I have a like on him. And he's showing up not really at all, which is fine. Chris Dunn is only showing up in about 2% of my lines. I think your thought process there is very solid. I get why you're forcing exposure to him there. And then Norman Powell showing up in about 15% of my lines. Still under the field, but also still showing up a decent amount. So, yeah, I like the Clippers a good amount on this slate. And that's pretty much the slate in general. Let's see. David said, do you create your own player pool? No, I don't. There was a time when I did. I used to X players out a good bit, but I haven't done it in a while, and I've still taken down tournaments not doing that. So it doesn't really feel like it's worth the time for me anymore. Dixon said, how do you all feel about DFS on the Lakers tonight? I am not playing him. Are you, Brandon?
I think I had a little bit of him showing he might have disappeared. 3%. So not going to force him more than that. I'm putting my eggs in Vanderbilt's basket tonight. So,
And he's showing up in about 7% of my lines. So that wasn't fully true, but I don't love him, to be honest. Dixon said, who has more upside tonight? Head to head, Ayton or Zubac? For me, it's Zubac.
Yeah, I got to go with Zubac tonight.
He is hella bum, Dixon. You've been saying that for a while. I haven't played him, to be honest, but still, it's frustrating, that situation. Thomas said, we'll never draft Hallie on my fantasy leagues again. Smart man. Maybe he'll get better again last year. This drop-off is insane.
It's crazy because last season, like, he was so good and, like, so consistent, and I don't know what's going on this season.
It has to be studied. It has to be. So what's up, guys? Kyrie or Curry? FanDuel GPP. Ooh.
Let me look at their prices.
Yeah.
Let's see, Kyrie or Curry.
That's tough. I want to say Curry.
Yeah.
Assuming they're priced similarly.
Yeah, I'll probably go Curry.
Is he cheaper on FanDuel?
8,500.
And how much is Kyrie?
8,900. So they're pretty close, but I like the spot for Curry a bit more.
Yeah, I like Curry a bit more on DraftKings because he's a bit cheaper. He's at 8,200. There's a bit more of a gap between them, but it is more of a conversation on FanDuel. Reeves or Monk head to head? That's tough, Dixon. Let me look. Reeves, or do you have an answer, Brandon? I guess it's whoever comes first.
I would probably go
Reeves?
with Monk.
Oh, okay. I would go Reeves. That's fine. No worries, man. Haven't got Zubac right yet. I don't know. I feel like I usually get him right, but maybe that's hopium or copium, whatever they call it. I feel like he hasn't burned me too many times, but I could be wrong.
Not this year.
Yeah, not this year. One Pride said, best way to avoid a AJ Green Levert situation back-to-back nights, max exposure or randomness. What? Are you getting a lot of AJ Green or Levert, Brandon, in your lines?
No, I think he just means like previous slates where they've burned us to avoid that tonight.
Well, I mean
if If you're trying to avoid that, I would always prefer max exposure. So if like Levert last night, I should have like all of us should have just put a max exposure on him. I never really touch randomization.
Yeah, I would have done a max exposure. I didn't play last night, so I can't tell you what I would have done. But yeah, it would be like a max exposure. It sounds like he was probably a guy showing up in 99% of the lines for everybody.
Yep.
So I hate Levert. So it probably would have been like a 50% max kind of situation, but who knows what I would have actually done. So don't quote me on that. One bride, yeah, no worries, man. No worries.
I think he ended up with like what was it, like 4 points or 6 points, something like
Yeah,
that.
sounds
That
like
was
some
pretty
shit he
bad.
would do. Okay, cool. Let's see. So yeah, that's pretty much the slate, guys. Appreciate you all for sticking it out with us. We'll be back tomorrow for a Friday slate. Should be a good one. Hopefully, we have a lot to celebrate tonight and we can brag a little bit. If not, we'll brag tomorrow night. So it'll be good. All right. Good luck, y'all. See you tomorrow.